workshop session. I'd like to thank everybody for coming today. You'll have 2 minutes to present your case due to the large volume of people. And we'll start at that end of the room. So,
guess I picked the lucky seat today. So, my name is Stephanie Otino. I'm here on behalf of the Adirondack Wine and Food Festival. Our inaugural event took place this past June at the new Festival Commons at Charles Arwood Park, and we're currently planning our event for next year the same weekend, June 25th and 26th. To tell you a little bit about last year's event, we felt that the Wine and Food Festival was one of the most successful events at the new Festival Commons. We received great feedback from attendees, event sponsors, local business owners, and our vendors were extremely pleased with both our turnout and their sales for the first year event. In spite of a very poor weather forecast and a washout rain on Sunday, the two-day event drew 2,500 attendees from over 20 states and 40 New York State counties. As we'd predicted, 50% of our attendees were locals, and the other 50% traveled from over 50 miles away. As an alcohol-focused event, we learned that not only did our tourist attendees take advantage of local hotels, restaurants, and shops, but many locals also opted to stay overnight at local hotels. And one last statistic that I felt is important to share is the age demographic of our attendees. 60% of our attendees were between the ages of 25 and 44. Our event clearly appeals to a younger demographic than most of the other festivals and events in Lake George. And we believe that this festival will continue to draw that important young and affluent demographic back to Lake George year after year. So we look forward to making the 2016 event bigger and better. The festival will showcase even more New York State wineries, breweries, distilleries, and local food vendors. In our second year, we anticipate that with great weather, the festival can draw 5,000 attendees over the two-day event. Our tickets are already on sale on our website. Group tour operators have shown great interest in bringing groups to the festival, and many sponsors have shown interest in working with us again. For example, we will once again be partnering with SUNY Adirondack Foundation. They will be the beneficiary of our event for a second year in a row. And the students and the instructors of the Culinary Arts program will be back at the festival offering cooking demos all weekend long. This is a really big hit, a nice addition to the event last year, and we're looking forward to have them back. And we know a large part of our success last year was a result of our strong marketing campaign, and therefore any and all funding that we are granted will be used to support the marketing and advertising efforts for next year's event. So we look forward to growing the event year after year, and we thank you for your consideration. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions?
I'd just like to say I've been doing this a while. I've looked at a lot of applications. The paperwork is outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next. Christian?
They all gonna...
Hi, everybody. I'm Christian Detcher with Americade. Nice to see you all. I want to thank you for your support last year. We are pleased with last year's event. Obviously, the economy took a toll back in 2007, and this last year was a significant rebound year for Americade. We had a very strong week, especially Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, with among our biggest single days ever as far as crowds in the area. It equated, as many of us know, to tens of thousands of room nights early in the season. We're shooting to do the same thing again this year. We introduced a bunch of new events this past year. Every year we try to introduce something new. This past year we introduced a number, more than normal, new events. We're really trying to target a younger, new attendee, someone who's never attended before. Bringing in a whole new audience is obviously important to all of us, especially Americade, as motorcycling as an industry ages. So we're working very hard to bring in new, younger attendees to the area. Years ago, the economic impact of Americade was evaluated at $40 million locally. I don't know what the number is these days, but it's obviously significant, and we try to make it more significant every year. Americade is as I believe, the only event that provides a return on investment for the occupancy tax funds. We have been awarded we've been fortunate enough to be awarded $50 grand in the past, and I think we have been estimated as contributing $200,000 to $300,000 to the occupancy tax fund every year. Right now, there's an office with 9 full-time employees working diligently to create and market an event. We're preparing to go to trade shows, and we're about to send out 30,000 full-color magazines around the country, and we're doing all sorts of marketing endeavors throughout the country, but to some degree throughout the continent, because we attract a lot of Canadians down here as well. And for 2016, we are working, in addition to those, improving those things that we launched this past year, we're launching an event that I believe in the first year may have an impact of 1,000 room nights in its very first year. We're very optimistic about it. I'm not yet able to speak publicly fully about it, but it's going to be appealing to a new demographic of motorcycling that it's a natural for Americade, and I'm surprised we've never done it before. So with that, I say thank you very much for your past support, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Christian? Thanks, Christian.
Thank you very much.
Next.
Hi, I'm Bill Belcher. I'm from the Hyde Collection. As you know, the Hyde Collection has, as you may know, Hyde Collection has an economic impact of $2.3 million each year, and supports the equivalent of 64 jobs. About $600,000 of that economic impact goes into local businesses and restaurants throughout the year. We receive about 30,000 visitors on average each year. What's unique about the Hyde is, of course, it attracts people year-round, 12 months of the year through our exhibition schedule. It's not just a weekend or a month-long event, but 12 months. 29% of those 30,000 visitors come from beyond a 3-hour radius, so they are the overnighters. And next year, we expect 34,000 people to come to the museum. If 29% of them are overnighters, that's the equivalent of 5,057 beds, and as you see in the application. So that's what we're aiming for. What's different about this year from last year is that we will have 4 major exhibitions instead of 3, including a Norman Rockwell exhibition in January or April, and a Rembrandt exhibition in the summer. So those big names will be a big draw for people beyond the 3-hour radius. The brand, our reputation, and the Glens Falls name carries throughout internationally and throughout the country as well. Our collection travels everywhere, so every time there's a label that says the Hyde Collection Glens Falls. Right now we're in San Francisco, Asia, Europe. We receive articles and recognition in the New York Post, Washington Post, Art in America, Time Out New York last year, and many other places. TripAdvisor awarded us with a Certificate of Excellence last year, and named us the #1 destination in Glens Falls. So obviously TripAdvisor is where those heads and beds go to actually figure out where to travel. But I think that's because of your past support and past support of our marketing and promotion efforts beyond the 3-hour radius. So we, with that big exhibition schedule for next year, we're hoping to do the same and hoping to reach more than 29% from beyond the 3-hour radius. And that's why we proposed our amount in the application. You have any questions?
Any questions?
Be interesting to see if Rembrandt can out Paul Stiglitz.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, right. I mean, right, exactly. I think Rockwell is going to be big, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
How's it going? I'm Dave Eman with Improv Records. Most of you know me. I'm a familiar face here every year. As you know, I work tirelessly to try to bring some great musical events to Lake George. You know me from the American Music Fest, the Adirondack Independence Fest, and all the Fridays at the Lake Series. This year I partnered up with some old friends of mine that I've been working with for 5 years with the Catskill Chill to bring a significant music festival to Lake George. And to tell you about that, here's Dave Marzolo, the owner of the Catskill Chill.
Thank you very much, Dave, and thank you for being so kind to bring us up here and to let us see this beautiful site and all it has to offer. And thank you, too, to the committee for having such a wonderful program. We really appreciate it. So my name is Dave Marzolo, as Dave mentioned, and I'm the owner and president of the Catskill Chill Music Festival. We've called it the Catskill Chill because we've hosted it for all these years in the Catskills, but we're looking for a new home, as you can see, and we're shortening it just to the Chill so as not to restrict ourselves just to that small confined area. The Chill is a 3-day music festival where last year over 60 bands performed on 4 stages for a crowd of over 5,000 paid attendees. But the Chill is much more than just that. The Chill is a family. We started this in 2010, and we had just over 20 bands, and we attracted 800 people. And 6 years later, we now have over 60 bands, and we have over 5,000 paid attendees. But as I said, it's more than just a festival. It's a family of extremely talented performers, of hardworking festival industry professionals, of dedicated volunteers and vendors, and most of all, of extremely, extremely loyal fans. Our fans are so loyal that last year when we're at the summer camp, so we sold over 1,000 summer camp beds to our attendees through our website, and they sold out in under 1 minute. How many more could we have sold? It's almost impossible to say, but we are now forced to leave our longtime home because the summer camp, which is the internationally renowned performing arts camp, French Woods, is just too small for us to continue our growth and development, and we want to give our fans something better than the summer camp beds where all the beds are lined up in a bunkhouse with a shared bathroom. And so when Dave brought us up here to see all you had to offer in Lake George, we realized it's really perfect for our clientele. In fact, having been in this festival industry for a long time, I can say that there is not another major Northeast music festival where you can step outside of the festival gates and have a myriad of hotel rooms, of beautiful hotel accommodations where people can have a parking spot and a private room and a private bathroom to enjoy the entire festival. So we really think that Lake George is the perfect fit for our event, and we think our event is a perfect fit for Lake George. Our plan would be to utilize the festival commons, the newly renovated festival commons, as well as the Forum and other classic music venues throughout the town. And if we are granted funding by you guys, we will use the funding to market this festival, moving to Lake George and the accommodations. Obviously, we think it's beautiful here. We think it's a perfect scenic spot. Our festival fans have come to love the scenic nature of our summer camp, but this is even more beautiful, I think, here, and the accommodations far outweigh what our attendees are used to. So, in the end, the result would be a town that's teeming with music lovers who are filling the hotels, filling the restaurants, filling the bars, filling the other tourist businesses for this coming year and hopefully for many, many more years to come. I'm happy to take any questions.
Yes. I see on your application it says 5 stages.
Yeah, we had 5 stages last year. One was a silent disco, which is a late night stage. So I guess that's not so much it's a DJ stage where we would have headphones for the attendees so there could be music that was not too loud for the surrounding community. So we had 4 stages of live band performance in the silent disco.
Well, you named 2. What are some?
We had a main stage. We had a B stage. We had a stage called Club Chill, and we had a stage called the DC Corner, which was named in memoriam after one of our festival staff who had passed away.
What other venues are you looking at in Lake George?
Right now, we are currently looking at the Towers Hall, at the Roaring Brook Ranch, the LG Forum, the Tiki. We want to potentially rent the Tiki for VIP rooms and do a VIP performance in the Tiki because the rooms aren't really big enough for a general crowd. And, of course, the Festival Commons will be where we have our headliners perform. Did you want to add to that, Dave?
Yeah, we're kind of using every possible venue. This first year, we're going to try to keep it centralized in the Forum. We're renting the Battlefield Park, $1 million beach parking lot. We're going to take all the rooms at the Tiki. Fort William Henry's already booked. Tentatively, we booked it for 2017 already. We're taking any rooms we can get at the Holiday Inn. I contacted the Motel 6 to take all 75 of those. So room nights generation, I anticipate 4,500 room nights without a doubt.
David, is the fort totally rented from your festival?
The fort was already booked out by the time I brought these guys up for this year. For next year, we've already tentatively blocked out the whole time frame.
And allow me to add, when I say 4 stages, one thing we also do in the festival space particularly, we would have 2 stages in the main festival commons, because some of the bands take up to an hour to turn over the stage from a large band to the next large band. So we would have a stage next to it, so we could have a band playing while we're changing the main stage over. The B stage is playing, and when the B stage is changing, the main stage is playing. If that makes sense.
Great.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just one. Did you settle on the date? I see your application says a certain date or another date.
We did it September 30th, October 1st, and October 2nd.
Thank you.
And I'd also like to add that Dave houses 650 staff and employees. And for that, we're going to probably take the whole Roaring Brook for over a week. So he buys a lot of room nights. He feeds everybody. And the budget's the real numbers that you're looking at in your packet. It's not exaggerated. That's what they spent last year.
These numbers are based on previous year's budgets, specifically last year's budget.
Great, thank you.
We really think this is a perfect home for our festival, so thank you for considering us. It would be an honor to bring the chill here to Lake George.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Erin Kuhn. I'm the Executive Director of the Charles Wood Theater. For those of you who may not be as familiar with us as others, we are a year-round performing arts center in downtown Glens Falls, New York. We opened our doors in 2004, so we're entering our 12th year. In the last 5 years, we've experienced a 20% growth in the number of people that we have coming through our doors. This year, we are on track to make our target of 25,000 people coming to the Wood Theater in 2015. Of that number, 20% are coming from outside of our area. This is the first time that I've stood in front of this committee on behalf of the Wood Theater, and that is in large part due to the Adirondack Theater Festival. The Wood Theater is largely a rental facility, and the Adirondack Theater Festival is our largest tenant, leasing out our space for the entire summer season. The growth that they had this year was unprecedented. So when they approached me to collaborate with them on this grant, I said, yes, I think it's time that the Wood step up and try to support them and what they're doing in the very, very far reach that they have, and come and support them in front of this committee today. On that note, I'd like to introduce Heather Carroll, who is the General Manager at the Theater Festival.
Thanks, Erin. As Erin mentioned, the Managing Director of ATF. For those of you who may not be familiar with what we do, we are a summer theater festival. We're now entering our 22nd year. We are dedicated to producing new and contemporary plays and musicals. And as she mentioned, we're in residence at the Wood from June through August every year. So thanks in large part to the support we received last year from Warren County, ATF was able to expand our marketing efforts in 2015, and we experienced a 45% increase in ticket sales this past season, which we're very proud of. We saw attendance rise to 8,300 guests this past summer from over 30 states. And also with the addition of our very successful new youth program in 2015 called the PB&J Cafe, we're actively working to expand our audience to serve our community in new and exciting ways. We are, dedicated to producing only new work, and that's something that's really truly unique to ATF, to our festival, and helps to draw visitors from outside of this area. What we produce here cannot be seen anywhere else in the world because it is new work. Only at the Wood Theater, only in Warren County, and before it moves on to Broadway and beyond. So it all starts here. Our increased collaboration with the Wood in 2016 will only help to grow the number of people we can collectively serve in this community, and increase the number of people we can bring into the region. The partnership has great potential and great value, and makes us, we believe, a very strong choice for funding. So we thank you very much for the opportunity.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Will. It's been a slow day for me. So you have on here, you have 5,000 to 6,000 people that are actually from outside the area?
Yes.
That attend?
Yeah.
Is that in the summer or year-round?
That's year-round, yes.
Okay.
So, ATF alone, we last year, brought in, about, let's see, I have the numbers here, 2,400 people from out of the area, so collectively with the wood, it's about 5,000 year-round.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Good morning. Doug Miller from the Adirondack Sports Complex. I'm going to share with you
Thank you.
This is a summary of all of our previous requests and awards and what has been generated. I didn't have this when I turned our application in because we hadn't finished up the last of this year's events. These are all the tournaments that we host. And as you can see, when our first request was back in 2010, we had 17 events at that point. We were awarded $10,000, and that generated 6,459 bed nights. This past year's events, we're up to now 22 events, a little over 13,000 bed nights, and generating, and the generation, these numbers that I'm saying are being generated is what's coming out of Warren County Tourism Department's report in terms of the average expenditures per night for rooms, for entertainment, for shopping. So I could get an independent consultant come in and say, yeah, you're generating a heck of a lot more than that, because the numbers that are in the county's report are deemed to be rather conservative. So each year we've had, you can see the amount we've requested, and each year we get a pretty significant haircut on that request. So hopefully with the being able to point out how we've continued to grow these events, we can finally receive a little closer to our request this year. We're looking to go to 25 events next year. That's what we've got on our schedule. So continued growth. We're kind of getting to the point where it takes more effort each year to keep those numbers growing. Some events are stagnant or holding steady year to year. Obviously, we're continuing to grow, and hopefully your award will help us continue to do that. Thank you.
I have
Questions?
Doug, right?
Yep.
I have a question, Doug. How did you determine your bed nights?
Last year, I had provided each of the committee members a copy of our actual report, and we survey everyone that comes in, where they're from, what group they're associated with. We then put, this is a report that comes out of that, and I'll give you a copy.
Great.
I'd given everybody a copy last year, and rather than give you all that paperwork again, I just decided to summarize it this year. We then corroborate those numbers with the hotels. We actually go to the hotels, we provide them with this report, and they'll say yes or no, and once in a while you're off by one or two. Somebody stated declaring instead of the Comfort Suites or something of that sort. But I'm glad to give you a copy of that.
Great.
Other questions?
Appreciate it. Appreciate the effort.
Any other questions for Doug? Yes, John.
Doug, are the hotels scattered throughout the area, or?
Yeah, we used last year's events, used 21 different hotels.
In
Lake George, Queensbury, Glens Falls. With the committee's new approach last year, and I'm glad you brought the question up, John, but I think everybody can hear me as I walk over to this.
Thank you.
The change last year in allocations, asking also to go to the municipalities. It's one of the struggles we had because we're using hotels in Glens Falls, Queensbury, Lake George, and the day before we were supposed to present to Lake George, they said, we don't need to hear your presentation. So we did not get anything from them, which was the directive that the committee or direction the committee had gone in terms of having you also go to the local municipalities. I never got an answer as to why we were asked not to present to Lake George, but we did not get anything from them.
The chamber?
I don't know who it was who called. I did not take the call. Somebody in my office took the call and said that they didn't want us to, didn't need to have us come and present.
Oh, for the application?
Yep, yep. One other thing that's interesting, if you look at our total bed nights this year, it was 13,204, and at the bottom of this, you'll see where it says Warren County room availability. The entire Warren County room availability, per the county's report, is 9,683 rooms. So we are doing that more than once over, filling every room if you, and that's very seldom done with any events.
Any other questions for Doug? Thanks, Doug.
Okay, thank you.
He does a good job recording.
You both got it.
Nice job. Good morning. My name is Joe Altieri, Assistant Director of the New York State Public High School Athletic Association. First, want to thank the Warren County for the award last year. Helped us continue our marketing efforts and continue with the amenities of our boys basketball state championships. Our association has 600,000 student athletes, 800 member schools, and 32 state championship events that we govern each year. We just actually finished our girls volleyball championships 2 weeks ago. Highly successful once again. I believe that's the 7th year of the event in Glens Falls. So we're proud to be here for two events, one being our flagship, which is what I'm here to talk about, which is our boys basketball championships. One of 3 flagship events that we have throughout the course of the year. This coming March will mark the 39th consecutive year that the basketball championships will be held at the Civic Center. We will hold the event March 11th through 13th. Our average attendance falls between 15 and 20,000 fans. We also have 400 athletes and coaches that participate in the event. The 20 teams that comprise the tournament are from all over the state, as well as the fans, including Long Island and Buffalo. We generate between 700 and 1,000 room nights for those 3 nights for the 20 teams. So it's a significant event, a significant financial impact, and as Doug noted, I had some data from the Warren County Tourism that indicated the impact was about $2 to $3 million for Warren County. I believe it's more, but I know that sometimes we have to be conservative in our estimates. Again, 700 to 1,000 room nights overall for this event. Our local committees run the event. They're volunteers. They work their butts off, and we appreciate the work that they do. Our bed tax dollars help us with many number of marketing efforts, and also offsetting major expenses with the event, including marketing on radio, TV, signage in the local area. We do fan giveaways. We do special awards. We have a number of things that we do that really help our efforts to create a successful tournament, and again, create amenities for the student athletes. So we are asking once again for consideration for bed tax funding for the 2016 Boys Basketball Championships. Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leave the pen for anybody.
No? Okay, that concludes the presentations.
Bill?
Yes?
I'm getting slower as the day's going on. John, how do you determine the bed night? Joe, I'm sorry.
That's based on 2 things. First, teams that we have coming in, we assign them to hotels, so we know exactly how many room nights they take up for hotels, and also through Warren County Tourism, Gal and Christina, they help with us with chains of hotels that are used for fans. So if we want to have a way to track them, so we ask them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
This is my last meeting of occupancy tax, and I just want to take the time to say thank you to the committee. I couldn't have handpicked a better committee. You guys are just wonderful, and I hope whoever inherits this chairmanship guards the money the way that I did over the years, because you're going to need it. The wood park is going to need money, and this particular function of the Occupancy Tax Committee awarding money to people has brought hundreds of thousands of people to Warren County that might not have otherwise come here. So it's a worthy endeavor. And this year, last year we cut back to 250,000 from 350,000, and this year we're cutting back to 175. But that doesn't mean that we're going to cut the funding to the applicants. There's been a greater emphasis placed on the communities, the towns' responsibilities, so they're going to pick up some of the responsibility for funding. That's all I have to say. We're going to go into a workshop session. The public is not allowed to speak during the workshop session. You'll all be notified within 24 hours of the award, and we wish you luck.
So, before they leave, I mean, I think we gotta make it a point that a lot of the people can get money out of the county, but you also have the option to go to the town.
Right.
I hope you all, we changed that whole formula, and, so you understand, if you're looking for 30,000 and we give you 15, you got the option to go, like, like you say, over here, that you have hotel rooms in Lake George or Queensbury, you can go to the town to get a little bit more, so, because it's tough for us, and I've been on this from the beginning with Bill, and like I say, we had, I think it was 800,000 in the pile, and we had 175,000 to give away, so, but a lot of the money was shifted to the town, just want to emphasize that, and I look at it, all honestly, we have a cap of 50,000, and I'm not trying to build up Sawtooth or Americade. That is our largest event this county sees. And we know we bring in $35 million to the county that week. And in my opinion, it's tough for me to say, well, we're only giving them 50,000, and turn around and give somebody else 30, 40,000 that has a weekend or a couple of weeks. It's really like somebody quoting up that they bring in $2 million. So it's a hard job for us to sit here and try to do it as best we can. It works pretty well. Tim, thank you, Chairman. Great effort. But I just wanted everybody to understand you can go to the town, and it's important to understand that.
And it's not necessarily the town you're holding the event, because there could be an overflow crowd to Queensbury or Glens Falls or Bolton Landing, so it's where you sell the rooms.
Luzerne has 12 overnight rooms, so don't forget to make it.
13. 13.
No, I don't have anything to do with my business. I know from Barrett, but we're a small community, we don't have a lot of, and we're far away from everything else. Don't scare them away. No. Thank you all. Very important.
So I thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Make us proud.
Resume the meeting. The awards are as follows. America, $50,000. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa. $50,000. Albany Rods and Customs, $28,000. Adirondack Hot Air Balloon Festival, $23,000. Adirondack Sports Complex, or no,
Boys basketball?
New York State Public School Basketball, 23,000. Adirondack Sports Complex, 20,000. World's Largest Garage Sale, 17. Hudson Valley Firemen's 10. And out of the reserve fund, we're going to, take 10,000 for Lake George Winter Carnival, 17.5 for hide collection. We're sending, Improv Records to the discretionary fund for 15,000. Adirondack Festival Wine and Food Festival, 8,500. Adirondack Theater Festival, 7,500.
Yeah.
Fall Hospitality Lake George Harvest Festival, 15,000.
Wait a minute.
That's
Right, we did increase that.
And Great Escape Theme Park, $4,000. And Warrensburg Bike Rally, 5,000 out of the discretionary fund.
Correct.
That's it?
That's it.
That's a wrap? Motion to adjourn? Oh. Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Seconded by Dennis. All in favor?
Aye.
Again, carried. Now motion to adjourn.
I'd like to say for the record before we adjourn, Bill, we really appreciate your chairing this committee. I know it's a tough committee and you've done a great job with it. It's been a pleasure working with you. We certainly will miss you next year and hopefully I don't get it.
And
that we'll adjourn.
I just want to say, because I think that when history records this, that Phil, that it was with your leadership that we were able to hammer out the revised program, which included funding for the Civic Center, and which appears, at least at this point, is they're doing great things over there, and hopefully that, and that was not an easy thing to do, and to come together to do that, and also the funding distribution, which I think today was a great example that it may not be perfect, but it's working beautifully, and it was your ability to come together with the rest of us and provide the leadership to help achieve all of that. And I just would like to state that on the record.
Okay, thank you.
I will say, Bill, before I have to roll up and tell. Maybe we can bring you back as a private sector entity to help.
As a consultant.
As a consultant.
There you go.
We don't want you to leave, so maybe we can, you don't wanna have to be a supervisor, we'll turn it to the private sector help.
I'll entertain it.
You will, right? Hey, you heard that, put it in the paper. Because you're leaving us with a cold of shoes with the